is the best lighting we're going to get. There's going to be a bit of camera wobble because again the tripod is set up on the bed and I'm going to be really grainy, but that's what I get from moving to the UK. Today I'm here to do a top 5 Wednesday video. I'm aware that it's not Wednesday anymore. I've never done one of these videos before, and this is probably why, because I'm not very good at uploading on a specific day. This topic seemed particularly interesting. It's your favourite required reading, and so these are picks from both my high school years and from uni, mostly from uni. There's only one from high school, which is the first one, and that is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This was the first Margaret Atwood that I read, and it introduced me to a world of her wonderful literature. This is an incredible book, but it is also very disturbing. It's set in this dystopian world where women are pretty much treated as slaves. The main character is a handmaid, and her main purpose in life is to create children, because in this world fertility rates are very, very low. This was a particularly great book to study as it brings in lots of different fields of thought. You've got feminism, you've got this whole dystopian side of things, and this is a book that I think should be required reading across the board. The rest of the books were uni reads, and the first of these is The Line of Beauty by Alan Hollinghurst. I think I really like this book because it's a lot like Brideshead Revisited, but it's set in the 1980s. It's set in London, and the protagonist is a gay man, and he kind of falls in love with this family. It's a Brideshead Revisited kind of story, but in the midst of it all, you've got Thatcherism, you've got the AIDS crisis, you've got 80s culture. There were all these really fascinating ways to look at it and different facets of it that I really enjoyed. It has a lot to do with privilege and with class and with prejudices, so this is a really great book and it's one that I would recommend even if you're not studying it. University was when I first read Virginia Woolf, and this was To the Lighthouse, which is the first of hers that I read, and it is my favourite. I absolutely adore this book. It's one of these novels where really not much happens, but it's beautifully written. You get the perspectives of all these different characters. It slips in and out of their heads. It's very stream of consciousness. It is very experimental. And I just think that it is a beautiful piece of writing. I remember very clearly reading this and wanting to savour every word, and I think that's the mark of a great book. The fourth book is Women in Love by D.H. Lawrence, which was a real surprise to me. I wasn't expecting to love this book as much as I did. I love the way that Lawrence writes female characters. I think he writes them as well as he writes his male characters. The dynamics between them is really fascinating, and I love the way he writes. I wrote an essay on this one, and I remember especially enjoying writing that. There's just so much to this book, and I can't believe that I haven't read any more D.H. Lawrence since then, but that's definitely something that I need to get onto. And the fifth and final book is sort of not quite a book exactly, it's a series of books or short stories. It's Catherine Mansfield. No surprise to anyone. I first came across Catherine Mansfield at university. I think I was really lucky in that sense because a lot of people study her at high school, and I don't know if I had read her at high school if I would have liked her as much. It really was a case of the right book at the right time, and I really connected with her writing, but especially with her journals and her letters. I have a collection of her journal entries here, which I am looking forward to revisiting. This is an edition from 1936, but Persephone do an edition of this in the same style as her Montana stories. So if you haven't read any Catherine Mansfield, I would highly recommend that you do. I do still plan to do a full video about her life and her writing. I just want to do it really well and do her justice, so it might not happen just at the moment. If you've read her stories, then I would highly recommend that you check out her journals and letters if you can get your hands on them. They obviously shed a lot more light on her as a biographical figure, and I just find her totally fascinating. So those were my top 5 favourite books that I studied at school or university. I would love to know what your favourite books are that you've studied at any stage. I know that people often get put off books that they've had to read for classes, and I found that myself at times, but there's nothing better than when you're reading a book and then studying a book, and studying it makes you love it even more. And that was the case with all of these books. So there we are. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye!